That's the fight that everybody want to see.
Yeah.
I want to do it.
Do you respect him as like when he's like, I got a couple fights left, I'm at the end, I'm only trying to get mega fights, so
I understand it, but don't lie or kept to the net and make it seem like I had the opportunity to fight you and I didn't. I never did. You know what I'm saying? And then that one time that I did, we said they called and we said never heard nothing else back about it. So right. I mean, I respect it though. I mean, get your money. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. But don't be capping on the net.
Man, great. Bud always been like that. But I request solid. You know what I'm saying?
You think there's anything left for him, coach, or is it time for Bud to move on? Or
I'm trying to figure out who he gonna fight next.
160, you can see him fight 160.
I wouldn't be nothing crazy. He looked at excellent. He looked at excellent.
Is there anybody most from?
No, I'm trying to figure out what their team gonna do next. I want to see what's
He's
next.
talking about 160, coach. I mean, the only thing down there is maybe like a middleweight tournament, 2 fights undisputed, something like that. But if not that, then what for Bud?
Ooh.
Well, they were talking about Jaron Ennis going to 160.
If he go to 160, then we got another mega fight.
You think that's a mega fight?
I don't know that yet, but I've said, and the boxing fans that know boxing would say that's another mega fight.
When reports first emerged that Terence "Bud" Crawford and Jaron "Boots" Ennis had moved into serious negotiations for a confirmed bout, the entire boxing world immediately turned its focus toward what now feels closer than ever to becoming reality. This is not just another hypothetical matchup that lives only in fan debates, it represents one of the rare moments where a long-demanded fight is actually within reach, especially after Crawford shocked everyone by moving up to 168 pounds and taking all the championships from Canelo Alvarez. Sources now indicate that the financial discussions could reach nearly $300 million, a number usually reserved for only the biggest events capable of drawing global attention. The growing buzz around this fight is not accidental, it comes from the journey both fighters have taken, the comparisons being made between Boots Ennis and a younger version of Crawford, and the belief that this could be one of the toughest challenges Crawford has faced. When Crawford first stepped into the super middleweight division, many critics questioned the decision, arguing that he lacked the natural size, physical strength, and youth advantage needed to compete at that level, especially against someone like Canelo, who was seen as the bigger, more experienced, and more dangerous fighter while also being the sport's biggest star. However, instead of simply proving he belonged, Crawford went far beyond expectations, delivering a dominant performance where he controlled the action with confidence, precision, and composure, making it look as if he had been fighting at 168 pounds for years rather than stepping into completely new territory.
Amazing, he a legend, man. 3-time undisputed. You got to take his hat up to him. He went up 2 weight classes and dominated a legend. So my hat goes up to him, and it's all respect.
Do you think Canelo is the same guy that he was before he completely falling off?
Canelo's Canelo, you know what I mean? Canelo's a legend, bro. You gotta, at the end of the day, whatever happened that fight, that don't diminish his career, his image. You feel me? I think right now, he's at that time where he took it out, but he ain't took it out, you know what I'm saying? He got paid and he a legend at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? So if he want to walk over in the sunset right now, his name, his last name is in a cement, you know what I'm saying? That's one of the greatest Mexican fighters in the world.
I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but Crawford does have all the titles. You're a really big name. He's kind of in your way right now, a little bit. Is that a fight where you're just like, me and him better know for sure?
Not for sure. Definitely, you know what I'm saying? Real drug, no smoke. But, right now, I'm focused on my comeback fight, you know what I'm saying? I gotta put my head down, whatever happened in my last fight is through, but, that ain't getting my light at all, you know what I'm saying? I'm still a superstar, I'm still the king of New York, man, I'm fly, I look good, I fight good, man. So, I'm excited.
That night, Crawford delivered a performance that modern boxing rarely witnesses. He left fans around the world in disbelief. Without the advantage of being the naturally bigger man, without needing catchweights, special clauses, or favorable conditions, he stepped into the ring and confronted the top fighter in the division head-on. There were no shortcuts, no excuses, just pure skill and confidence on display. In the end, he didn't just win, he secured a decisive and undeniable victory against the very best opponent available.
Those two, Crawford or Mayweather.
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, you know, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is...
After that point, everything started to look settled. Crawford had reached a stage where real challenges were becoming hard to find. He had already beaten Errol Spence, taken apart one of the most dominant Mexican stars of his era, unified titles at 140 pounds, completely controlled the division at 147, and then went on to establish himself at 168. It felt like there was nothing left to prove. The list of serious opponents had almost disappeared until one name kept coming up repeatedly. Jaron "Boots" Ennis, the undefeated powerhouse who continued to dominate every fighter placed in front of him. And now, standing across from Crawford, he represents the one challenge that still feels unfinished.
Fights, we've got to get him undisputed at 47. He can move up. I want to see him fight Terence Crawford. You know, I mean, that's a fight that's been talked about, and Terence will only take that fight if it's big enough. I'll back Jaron "Boots" Ennis against anybody. And what a joy to be guiding.
This is a fight that has been talked about for years, with fans constantly calling for Crawford to take on Boots back when both were active at 147 pounds. In 2023, the IBF even stepped in and officially ordered the matchup, but negotiations never led to an agreement. Some critics felt Crawford avoided a younger and highly motivated challenger, while Crawford maintained that Boots had his chance to make the fight happen but didn't follow through. Once Bud moved up in weight, most people believed the opportunity was gone for good. But as Ennis continued to improve and deliver standout performances, attention quickly returned. It became clear he wasn't just winning fights, he was evolving into something bigger, with a style and presence that started reminding many of Crawford himself when he was around 28 years old.
Perfect weight for Boots is 160. I think he can go there now and be in his absolute prime. He'll be tight at 54 tomorrow. People think that when you move up in weight, all of a sudden it's easy. He's massive. He will 100% go to 168 at some point. So right there, you've got a 4-division championship. But I don't want him just to be a 4-division champion. I want him to be undisputed in those, because I think he's the natural progressor to Terence Crawford. I think he's at the same kind of ability as Terence Crawford. And what Crawford's done is amazing, because he was undisputed in 3 weight classes.
Yeah, you got to prove it in a ring.
Of course you have. It's very well me saying it. But you've got to prove it in a ring. But you've also, people know in boxing. So everyone's always known how good Crawford was. But it took him a long time to get the opportunities to prove it. We've got to make sure that we're not 36, 37, 38 when we're getting those opportunities. Because if Boots can get it at 29, 30, he's going to be around 34, 35. He lives a clean life. Do you know what I mean? I think this guy, I truly believe, I think he could be one of the all-time greats.
Soon after, analysts began labeling him as the next version of Crawford, and promoters quickly reignited talks about making the fight happen. The conversation gained even more momentum when Eddie Hearn openly stated that there is only one opponent who truly matches Crawford at this stage. He challenged fans by asking which other matchup could create the same level of excitement apart from Ennis facing Crawford. Hearn emphasized that Boots is still in his absolute prime, untouched by injuries, not worn down by years in the ring, and nearly 10 years younger than Crawford. The message became impossible to ignore. If Crawford is looking for a real challenge that tests him at the highest level, then the fight he needs to take is against Boots.
Ennis against Terence Crawford is the fight. And that can be at 54, it can be at 60. Obviously, we've got Lima to take care of first, but that for me is one of the great, crossover fights, because Boots is the changing of the guard guy. And Crawford's the guy that's been there and done it all and just proved, that he's still very much...
Over the past few months, both fighters have been sending strong signals without needing to say too much. Ennis has openly recognized Crawford as the top name in boxing today, especially after his win over Canelo, and has shown clear respect by calling him one of the greatest competitors in the sport. But at the same time, he has made it just as clear that he believes he is the one fighter capable of beating him, carrying both admiration and confidence as he positions himself for the biggest challenge of his career.
And by the way, there's this brother coming up, Molly. His name is Boots Ennis. This brother's special. You don't want to go in the ring against after that beating. Molly, it was so bad. I swear to y'all, I am not exaggerating.
Boots made it clear in his own words that Crawford stands as the face of boxing right now, but the way he said it carried a deeper message, hinting that every reign eventually comes to an end. On the other side, Crawford answered with calm confidence, keeping a relaxed tone while showing respect, consistently acknowledging Boots after each performance and giving credit to the skill and talent he continues to display inside the ring.
Boots Ennis is in your weight class.
Definitely.
What do you think about him?
Oh, he's very, very talented. He's unproven, but he's very talented.
Yeah.
The eye test tells it all. You know, he's got the it, you know, but we haven't seen him against any elite fighter. We've never seen him tested. So until then, you know, we just going to keep saying, oh, Boots, 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 until he meet that fighter that's going to test him.
Is that a fight that you would be interested in?
Nah, it just don't make sense right now in my career. Like I said, like, especially money-wise, don't nobody really know Boots, but I'm looking for bigger and better challenges like Canelo.
You're just looking for the big one.
Yeah.
The big fish.
Yeah.
Fish fry.
That definitely. Definitely. Them the guys I'm looking.
Whenever reporters asked if Boots had what it takes to beat him, Crawford would simply smile with quiet confidence and respond that everything comes in time, suggesting the challenger still had more to prove. But the moment he defeated Canelo, the entire landscape changed overnight. Boots immediately stepped forward and called him out, while promoters began estimating massive numbers and television networks quietly moved into early discussions behind closed doors.
It would be one of the biggest fights in history, man. You know what I mean? When it comes to styles, they both of them have beautiful styles, man. You know what I mean? They both switch, and they both can do it all. You know what I mean? Crawford will fight you. He just showed everybody he'll fight you too. Boots will fight you inside and outside. When you got hard like that, that's what you do. And Crawford does this.
Figures like Eddie Hearn, Tim Bradley, and Sean Porter all began echoing the same point, that this is the last truly meaningful challenge left for Bud. But the real question is why so many experts keep calling Boots the next version of Crawford. There is a clear reason behind that comparison.
Who they are cancels out each other as far as height. You know, they both switch hitters, lift, and everything. All of that cancels out each other. So they are literally the same people pretty much. The only difference is Crawford done been in the big stage against big fighters so many times. And also with age, he didn't beat up his body, so his age is actually good. He got the grown man strength. He not just grown man strength, but he built on top of that. Like, look at him at 135. He was a little scrawny dude. He wasn't a big dude. Now look at him. He ripped up everything. He's strong. So sure. I feel like he got everything, all the experience, all the knowledge. So I got to go Crawford.
Boots is widely viewed as one of the rare fighters in boxing today who carries a complete skill set similar to Crawford. He can fluidly switch between orthodox and southpaw stances without losing balance, control, or punching power. His counter timing is sharp and deliberate, often catching opponents before they can fully react, while his overall style blends athleticism, reach, youth, and strength in a way that makes him dangerous for anyone standing across from him in the ring.
Jaron Boots Ennis or Terence Bud Crawford. Jaron's shots seem to be more thumping and more like a whip, where they come out kind of wider. Jaron also twists his whole body behind each shot, gets a lot of leverage. Terence Bud Crawford's shots seem to be shorter, and he gets more of that shoulder snap. Terence Bud Crawford's punches are also placed very strategically. He uses his opponent's momentum against them and catches them coming in and has them leaning right into that shoulder shot. Remember, the punch going from point A to point B in the shortest distance is the goal that's trying to be achieved in all fighters. Mike Tyson made that an art. Boots and Bud both have a lot of knockouts, but who do you guys think hits harder between the two of them? Tell me in the comments.
At just 28 years old, Boots already shows a level of complete ability that most fighters never fully develop in their entire careers. Patience is where everything started to build real tension and excitement. Crawford is gradually moving into the later stage of his career, while Boots is entering the strongest and most explosive years of his development. That contrast has become the core storyline behind the entire discussion. Boots represents the rising future of boxing, full of energy, momentum, and ambition, While Crawford remains one of the defining icons of this generation, a proven champion whose legacy is already firmly established.
Floyd Mayweather?
To me, it's because he challenges himself. So for me, don't get me wrong, Floyd ain't no bad fighter. Floyd is a hell of a sharp fighter, but I ain't gonna say a better fighter. I'm gonna say I just can appreciate it more because he challenges himself. You understand me? Floyd never challenged himself. So if you tell me who I want to see, Floyd or Terence, I want to see Terence, because Terence gonna challenge himself. Floyd may be a better fighter because Floyd is slick and Floyd really can fight. People know I don't underestimate Floyd's boxing ability. Floyd has great boxing ability. Floyd is one of the best ever. But Floyd just...
Crawford is not driven by money or external validation. He has already secured his status as an undisputed champion across multiple weight classes and defeated some of the biggest names of his era, effectively silencing many of his critics. At this stage, he doesn't need more belts or recognition to prove his greatness.
Just started for his
so the real
upcoming fight
question
against
becomes
Canelo
why
Alvarez.
take on Boots
However,
at all?
Danny Jacobs
The
said
answer
Terence
comes down to legacy. Crawford's goal is to retire as the most complete and dominant fighter of the modern era, not just ahead of names like Canelo or Spence, but above every elite comparison from past and present. One common criticism is that he has not yet faced a young, prime-level elite challenger at their peak, and Boots represents exactly that kind of test. If Crawford were to win, it would strengthen his argument in the all-time debate, placing him in conversations above legends like Mayweather, Pacquiao, and Canelo in the eyes of many fans and analysts, making this matchup a defining step in his career path.
Beat this guy is his excuse. I beat this guy, he's too young or whatever. So I'm never really going to give my full respect until afterwards. Yes, it's a lot of people that's changing their narrative. Like, man, y'all watching something great right now, and we not appreciating it. And it's sad to say that we waking up at the tail end of his career. We really didn't realize it until now, when he's like doing extraordinary stuff, like going up 2 weight classes to fight the best fighter in that division, the #1 guy that's the face of boxing, and the way that I handled that, people like, oh man, something had to be wrong. Canelo had to be washed, or Canelo just wasn't in it. I see people saying, oh, Turkey paid for Canelo to lose, so I just think, when you that much better than the competition, people not going to give you credit until they sit down and look at it and just be like, man, that dude was good.